Hello, this is Robin Fiked at Stamping Country. Welcome. Today I'm going to show you a very cool technique. It's called no line coloring. I'm actually going to use alcohol markers, my Stampin Blends, my beloved Stampin Blends, to do this technique. We're going to also use the Good Morning Magnolia stamp set, and the ferns are from the Daisy Lane stamp set. It looks a little bit like my garden. Now you'll notice this is supposed to be a magnolia, but when you color it like this, it looks more like a rose. We're going to start with Sahara Sand Ink, and we'll ink up the large magnolia, and we're going to stamp off so that the ink is a little bit lighter. And this is going to give us our lines. We'll ink that up and stamp off and do another one. Then we're going to use the smaller magnolia, do the same thing, stamp off and then stamp. Super simple. These are going to give us the lines we need for coloring. Now, I used to be afraid of this technique. Notice how, see all the dark shadows? So I'm going to use the dark and the light. If you start from the bottom and use your dark, and then maybe color in a few of the lines. Now, fair warning, when you first start this, you're going to look at that and say, that doesn't look that great. And you're going to get a little scared that it's not going to turn out. Keep working it. Take your time. This video is in fast motion, but I'm just sort of showing you the technique. And right now, it doesn't look like much. But see how I am going over just the bottoms of each petals, or the innermost part of each petal with the darker, and then you shade in with the light. And I'll just keep building. It starts to look like something the further out you get. So you do the dark and then the light. And the dark sort of takes the place of the lines, but you don't cover all the lines with the dark. You also use some light. This can be a little time consuming, but it's very, very rewarding. Gives you a little different look. Instead of coloring or stamping your stamp with the black outline and then coloring, this gives you very soft lines. And you'll notice this darker color. This definitely looks like a wild rose or a heritage rose instead of a magnolia. So you get a little more bang for your buck with your stamp sets by changing the look. Keep working it. And if you notice a spot that you don't particularly like, you can always go back and add some more lines, some more depth. We're getting there. But you have to be patient. You want to do a leaf or two at a time, and you're going to work fairly quickly so it blends out nicely. Beautiful. I'm using a Mango Melody on the center. Then I'm just sort of dotting some Mossy Meadow, the lighter one. Then I'm going back with a darker Mango Melody. I probably will go back and blend that out into the flower a little bit. I don't like the way that looks. Now for these leaves, I don't know that I've perfected these yet. I started with the Mossy Meadow, the dark, went over some of the lines and the shadows, and then I go back and shade it in or blend it in with the lighter Mossy Meadow. Now you'll notice in the end product of this card that I'm actually stamping some ferns directly over the leaves, and it sort of improves their look. Okay, and then I want a little bit darker shade for the smaller flower, so I'm using Lovely Lipstick, which is an in color for this year. Same technique. We'll start with the dark. We're going to do the bottoms of the petals, and we'll go out with the light. You can see how patient you have to be to do each leaf. This Lovely Lipstick is a nice complement to the Rococo Rose. Blend it out. Do try to round off the edges of the outer edge of your image so that it doesn't look jagged with your Stampin' Blend. It's really starting to take shape. This is another thing that you can do with your outline stamps. This is called no-line no-line coloring. You can also use this technique for watercoloring, but today we're going to use the alcohol markers. I noticed some lines that I didn't like, so I'm going back with the darker blend and I'm blending out with the lighter. And you can touch that up. If you see a spot that you don't care for, you can go back and do that. Now I'm going to add the ferns. I'm going to use Old Olive ink. And we'll stamp our ferns. Don't worry if you go over some of the leaves and the flowers. It's okay. This is just going to make it look like it's in your flower garden. Because who doesn't love ferns with roses? That you can overlap your... The Old Olive is a little lighter than the Mossy Meadow blends that I used, so you have the light and the dark. And then the Mossy Meadow I'm going to use for my sentiment from the Good Morning Magnolia. And again, this is a little bit darker than the Old Olive, so you get a little bit of contrast, but it's very subtle. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll give it a try. If you like this video, be sure to like, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thanks so much, and have a fabulous day.